Alright, complete unbiased breakdown. Elf is cool. Elf is dexterity-based characters. They have some magic abilities that they get just depending on what subtype of elf you pick. Tiefling is really cool because tieflings have some baked-in power. They resist fire. They can see in the dark, and they're just as quick as every other race. Drow are like plot elves. Like, I don't know the right way to describe them. Most Drow are bad guys, but in Baldur's Gate you can be a good guy as well. The big thing used to be that Drow had cantrips, so those are actually the warlock ones, but they had spells baked into their race, which Fey Ancestry, Superior Dark Vision, they're really good at seeing in the dark, and Drow weapon training. So Drow and elves know some weapons just baseline, and then they know dancing light as well. Drow's are actually a really good race. Githyanki, the big thing they have is this ability here, astral knowledge. They gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability. So like, if you have 6 different abilities, Githyanki basically once a day can be like, oh, I can do everything related to charisma, and that's actually really, really good. Also, as they level up, they will get cantrips. Githyanki have mind powers, and they keep getting better. They eventually get one that lets them jump super far, and that's really, really good. And then they start with proficiency in a lot of good weapons, long swords and great swords in particular. Dwarves traditionally, I love the way this guy looks, it's so goofy. Dwarves traditionally are more martial type characters. They normally have extra constitution, so they get extra hit points. They're proficient with axes and hammers. They have dark vision, and then they get advantage on saving throws against poison. So that means that they roll 2 dice and pick the best. So dwarves don't get poisoned much. That doesn't matter a ton in this game. Half-elves are totally just like a protagonist race. There's something great to pick if you want this just be like a good all-around guy. You get proficiency in what humans get. You get dark vision, and you get that Fey Ancestry where you can't be a charm. You get advantage on charm, and you can't be put to sleep. Half-elves are a really good race. Halfling get really stupid good abilities. Lucky, you can re-roll ones, which is great. And then Brave, you get advantage against saving throws for being frightened. Frightened is an awful condition. I hate halflings, but it's really good. Gnomes gain advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. That's really good. You just have to play a fucking gnome. Nobody wants to do that. Dragonborn, the only cool thing they do is they breathe whatever element their dragon ancestor is. So like, this guy's a black dragon, he has acid breath. They look cool though, they're fun to play. Half-orcs are dope, they're really good fighter characters. Dark vision, when they go to 0 hit points, they go back to being at 1. That can be dangerous sometimes to get you killed. Also, it can help you polish off enemies sometimes. And then whenever they get a critical hit, they get to do extra weapon die damage. Half-orcs, really, really good for like fighty type characters. Classes, the polite breakdown. Barbarians are a frontline fighter. They're generally lightly armored. The big thing that they do is they get to add the modifier for these scores together for their armor. So they don't normally have to wear armor. They normally have really high strength as their most important stat. And when they rage, they get bigger and stronger. Barbarian's pretty easy to play, and then their rages come back pretty easy from a thing called a short rest. So they're a really good choice. Bard is just a really, really good character. They're a charisma-based character, so they're good at talking. They're good at making important decisions in the game and helping you out with that. They learn a lot of spells, and they can also do a lot of spells for classes that you might not bring along. So like, the big one is like, if you don't have a cleric in your party, a bard can kind of fill the role. If you don't have a wizard in your party, a bard can kind of fill the role. Clerics are normally kind of like a heal bot. They're going to follow around and heal people. The cool thing that clerics have is they have domains. Whatever domain they pick, they can kind of specialize. So life domain is specialized in being a healer. Light domain is a good all-around one. They get some really really strong domain spells. Trickery domain is bullshit, and you should never do anything with it. Knowledge domain kind of lets you step in and help if you don't have a bard. Nature domain, I think you should just play a druid. Tempest domain gets really good spells. Thunderwave here lets you knock enemies around. You can push guys off cliffs. And then War Domain is like a good like tanky fighter healer. So I really like Cleric for that. I might play a Cleric. Druid is cool. The big thing is that they turn into animals. The animals get powers. They can also do a lot of the healing that Druids can do. They can do a lot of the like filling in that Bards can do. Druids are definitely a fun class to play. Fighters are very straightforward. You run in and hit things with swords. That, you're going to hit a max level of 12, I believe, in this game. At level 5, fighters get an extra action every turn. They also get an ability called Action Surge, where every short rest, so you can short rest after combat, so you can short rest twice a day. That's more mechanical stuff, but fighters can just perform an additional action. So that'll be like an additional attack, and fighters sometimes can just chip in a lot of damage. When they hit 5th level, they start doing like really good, really consistent damage, and when they hit 11th level, there's a lot of little wombo combos you can put around where your fighter just runs around the board and murders everything. Monk, I don't like anything about Monk. I think they're dumb and I don't think they should exist. With that said, their big thing is that they don't need weapons and they don't need armor. Good thing, bad thing. So they don't get some of the magical bonuses that you want early. They can also do cool stuff like use key points for Flurry of Blows to do multiple attacks in a row. You can use your dexterity instead of your strength for your damage modifier. You deal more damage with your unarmed attacks, and you get bonus unarmed attacks, which is great. Paladin, super all-arounder class, really good. They're actually a charisma-based class for a lot of their stuff. So they can also do a lot of the talking and stuff. They can do some off-healing. Most of the time, they want to be in the thick of it hitting things. So Ranger is just not in a good spot. They just don't do a lot of cool stuff. The big thing though is that if you want to hang back and shoot guys with bows, and there's a lot of really, really good bows in this game, Ranger normally ends up multi-classing with something like you can multi-class with Rogue and get really powerful. Rogue is really, really good. You basically want a Rogue or a Bard in a party. Bards, again, can cover a lot of roles. Rogue can sneak around, they can pick traps, they can run ahead of you and kind of see what's going on. Rogues are super useful, and then in combat, sometimes you get just do silly damage. Sorcerer and Wizard are virtually interchangeable. The biggest difference between the two of them is Wizard prepares their spells, and there's certain spells that they know, and those will be the only spells that they're casting. Sorcerers cast more spells a day, but no less. You pick up scrolls throughout the game, though, so if you want to play Sorcerer or Wizard, you can actually, if you're a Wizard, learn a shit ton of spells, and it's really cool. Warlock is like the most martial of the arcane casters, so that means they actually play a little bit closer to a fighter in that they have this ability, Eldritch Blast, excuse me, I was going to say Arcane Blast, where they're basically going to use that to blast their enemies, and then as they level up, they get to upgrade that, change that, and then they get to pick either a Fiend, a Great Old One, or the Archfey as their patron who is giving them their powers. Warlock is another charisma-based class too, so they're good at talking. Warlock, Paladin, Bard are really like easy, like first character's good for everything. Wizards are really powerful but frail. Rogue, Fighter, Monk, Barbarian are all just like general good, like I want to go beat people up picks. Ranger, Druid are definitely a little more specialized, but you can play them, have a lot of fun. They're really good. They add a lot to a party. And then Cleric, you basically want one guy playing a Cleric just because they can heal. Yeah.